Hey dudes, CI here. So listen, I'm going to give you a content warning here. I'm going to talk about death, dead bodies, that kind of thing. So if that freaks you out and you don't want to deal with it, just turn back now. All right? Okay, here we go. My roommate died yesterday. Well, actually, we're not sure when he died. Um, Let me start at the beginning. I live with a couple guys, just a bunch of old bachelors, three of us, nerdy homebodies. It's not a cool house. It's just a house. I'm not friends with them. I'm friendly. They're very good roommates. Been with Andrew about like 8 years now. With Christian for maybe 5 years. And like I said, we're not friends, but we're definitely friendly. We're good roommates. The quarantine has been a little weird because everyone's all holed up, and we're actually a little more holed up than usual. It's like doors have been closed, haven't seen as much of each other. We're just kind of keeping our distances, even here within the apartment. So the fact that I hadn't seen Christian in a couple days wasn't too surprising, but I actually sort of did. I was wondering about it. I was like, I can't tell if his light's on in there. I haven't heard from him in a couple days. I wonder if everything's okay. And his mom was having the same concerns because he was in contact every day with his mom. At some point, they'd talk on the phone. They were very good friends. And she hadn't heard from him in a couple days, and she'd been texting him, and she'd been starting to get worried. And yesterday, she came by, rang the doorbell, and I didn't quite hear it because I had some music going. But then she rang it again, so I went and I opened the door and she wasn't there. I was like, and I looked down and she's kind of in like a frenzy and she's walking down towards his window to see if she can see inside the window. And she comes in and she's like, I'm worried about Christian. I got a bad feeling. And she comes in, and this is the toughest part, to be honest. She goes into his room, and my room's right next door. I'm not looking into the room at that point, but she goes into the room and she immediately starts saying, Christian, Christian. She's screaming it. She's saying, wake up, wake up, wake up. And then she says, oh my God, oh my God. And she yells at me, call 911, call 911 right now. And so then I get my phone and I'm sort of over there in the door and I can look in his room and he's lying there on the bed and he's fucking dead. It's just kind of obvious. He had like some uh, he had like some snot coming out of his nose or something, and you know how they talk about like with a dead body that gravity makes the blood kind of pool. You could see that a little bit. You could see his fingernails were kind of blue, and like his earlobes. He was lying on his back, so actually you could see his earlobes were kind of blue, and um, and I think that maybe the thing that made him look the most dead actually was the fact that the two of us were right there and sort of she was in a frenzy and she was talking loud and I was talking loud and he was just not moving. He was so fucking still and looked off. And that just happened yesterday. It wasn't the coronavirus. He showed there were no symptoms. He wasn't coughing. He wasn't sneezing. I think he had a heart attack. And I haven't had a lot of experience with dead bodies. Have you guys? Maybe you've seen some dead bodies. The only dead bodies I've seen in my life is like if there was an open casket at a funeral, and that was like a couple times in my life. But they've got makeup on and their clothes and all that. It's a very, very different experience seeing your roommate lying there in his room dead, and you know he's been dead for 24 hours, maybe 48. We don't really know. So the cops showed up, um, and the medical examiner showed up, and eventually people came with a cart or a gurney or whatever you call it, and they went into his room. I guess they put his body into like some sort of a sheet or bag or something. And they put that on top of the gurney. I kind of watched it happen because it was right outside my door and it was freaky. The cops asked people questions. The mom was there. The sister came. My roommate came home from work. The other roommate, he was clearly freaked out. He was very happy he didn't see the dead body. And I agree. I don't think I'm like damaged by this. I don't think I'm gonna I don't feel like this is a PTSD situation, but I am a little, just a little freaked out. Not horribly, but a little. And like I said, it was weird because I hadn't seen him in a couple days and I was wondering. I could kind of see like under the door, is his light on? But that worst moment, man, that worst moment was when his mom went into his room and she immediately started yelling his name, wake up, wake up, wake up. And as weird as that was for me, can you imagine being her? Can you imagine that? So, yeah, so that's my story. That's my story. And you can tell I'm kind of a little freaked out by this. But again, I don't think I'm really fucked up by it. I don't. But man, weird situation. It was so weird. Seeing him, it was clearly him, and yet it wasn't. It was weird. So, I don't know, man. That's the story. That's the story. I guess if you've got some cool like death stories to tell, you can do them down in the comments or not. But that's my story. That's my thing this week. Just happened yesterday. I feel better today than I did yesterday, but still a little weird. All right, man. That's it for me. Hopefully we'll be back to normal life next week. I'll see you then.